The war ended in 2002, but the misery remains. Victims of the prolonged civil war in Angola, Africa, search for refuge in camps, remote forests, or in the ruins of their former villages. The women and children of Angola particularly have endured untold deprivation and dislocation for more than 20 years. These are the people the Dille-Dunbar Fund seeks to serve. They aspire to build schools for young women so they can experience day-to-day living in a peaceful, hopeful setting. By teaching basic life skills, they hope to restore the essence of community life to a group of people scattered into bleakness and despair by the senseless war. For more than 20 years, Nancy Dunbar and Tom Dille have carried on the family tradition by supporting the people of Angola. Their parents, Carl and Lois, were in mission in rural Angola for 32 years.
I'm delighted because I walked with their parents while they served in this mission station.
In the late 1990s, the then leader of the modern Evangelical Congregational Church in Angola, Jose Chipenda, challenged the family to build a school for young women in Lobito, an Angolan port city flooded by refugees.
The mandate of our church from the very beginning is to train people for leadership within their own communities. We wanted it to be a model in order to get the approval of the government of Angola, and we have it.
The family accepted the challenge, and in 2002, the Canada School for Young Women in Lobito opened. Classes covered most facets of daily life: cooking, sewing, nutrition, citizenship, accounting, English as a second language, and some computer skills. Inspired by our success, the government began building similar training schools in urban areas throughout the country. It was apparent to us the schools were a valuable addition, but not an appropriate model for women from rural areas who lack exposure to literacy, any form of transportation, or access to the job market. On a homecoming visit in 2004 to the former mission stations of their youth, Tom and Nancy resolved to build rural schools for young women. They focused on Chileso and Camandango on the high plateau of central Angola. The Chileso school was opened in 2008. Classes had been held outdoors or in the ruins of former buildings prior to the school opening. In 2008, the families returned to Chileso and the completed women's school. With the aid of translation, we learned of the challenges facing teachers, the satisfactions of some students, the needs of the school, and the combined hopes of both teachers and students.
Regarding to supplies and equipment, we have nothing, because even the sewing supplies we don't have. What I have learned here is how to make good beef, how to make peanut butter, soya milk. We are also providing literacy classes as well as arithmetic to give a chance to young ladies to be able to do numbers. And Rita is the teacher of literacy classes. We have learned many things in this training school: cooking, nutrition, social ethics. When we learned that this school was open, I knew that I would learn something new in my life. The teachers are very confident. The challenges that I have identified, something that we learn in school, I am not able to put into practice in my home because I don't have these materials at home. Sometimes supplies and equipment to tie theory to practice, there is a small gap.
We came away from the discussion with a mandate to do all we can to sustain the teachers and their ever-growing student group with supplies and moral support.
Through this training center, we are trying to rebuild the souls and the hearts of the people, as well as rebuilding the communities after a long period of civil war.
They have basic needs: pots, pans, sewing and knitting materials, books on family life, curriculum to teach literacy, writing tools, sewing machines, articles of personal hygiene, and even sleeping pads for their dorms. We heard no requests for potable water, medicine to fight malaria and dysentery, or modern farming tools. We sensed they felt resources like these were too much to hope for. Both the former rural missions in Chileso and Camandago attempt to serve their extended community needs of over 30,000 villagers scattered around the perimeters of the mission lands. Unlike the majority of land in Angola, this land is owned by the church. Each mission station attempts to school nearly 1,000 primary school-age students. Anyone of childbearing age can be considered a young woman. They have just as many schooling needs as their younger siblings since they become mothers at an early age. Knowledge of the basic health practices is critical. Alarmingly, 4 of 5 children die before the age of 5. Rural life in Angola is peaceful but not productive. Happy 2-year-olds can wander without fear for personal safety, but hapless 20-year-olds feel lost without a paying job. Land is available and free from landmines, so agriculture can be resumed. Clean drinking water is waiting to be tapped. The people are ambitious, patient and persistent, and eager to learn.
We are very happy to be able to provide this kind of training because most of the women who attend the school here have not a chance to go find the same opportunities.
There are government-financed buildings being built in Camandago, specifically a school for young children and a technical center for manual skills training. The Chinese have contracted with the government to build a new hospital. There's also a church being built by the community. The shell of the former women's domestic school, once the largest in the country, looms over the shadows of the thatched pavilions where the women now meet for training. They aren't waiting for a building. They can't wait. Their needs are urgent. The Dille-Dunbar Fund can't fill all the needs. We have targeted women since the war has regrettably made them the majority of the population, and they have the greatest sphere of influence. It's our intention to either reconstruct the former domestic school or build a new school for young women in Camandago by 2009. We hope it will grow like the lilies rising from the rubble of this destroyed school in Camandago. They represent the beauty of hope and revive the determination of a people who deserve positive life lessons.
Through this training center, we are trying to rebuild the souls and the hearts of the people, as well as rebuilding the communities after a long period of civil war.